So the other day I was faced with an argument with a racist. I wasn't the only one in the argument. It was a friend's relative, and the friends that I have was also fighting the same fight that I was. I purely spoke up because it was a fight between this relative and a few white people who were vouching for the BAME community, and I thought it would be better to hear from someone of colour, but apparently not. The main question, I'm not going to get into the argument, but the main point was, well, there were so many main points. The main argument he had was why now during a pandemic, and that those that are protesting will be the cause of a second wave, and that our protests can wait. So I thought I would explain, even though I didn't really see the reason why I should have to explain, but I thought, you know what, actually maybe someone sitting down and explaining why it is important that this happens now is possibly needed for more than just him. And obviously I am not the only person who is protesting, I'm not the only person who's affected, I live in a bubble myself, so I'm not going to claim to be the voice of the whole community, because that would be just as ignorant as someone saying we can wait. So, an innocent black life has been taken. George Floyd was murdered, and another argument that people have had is that there are other white people that are killing black people, and the issue is that the police are authorities. They are the people that we're supposed to go to if we're in trouble. They are the people that we are supposed to hold accountable, they are the people who hold people accountable for their crimes, for their actions, and are supposed to be a unbiased, authoritative force. And when that force is not on your side because of the colour of your skin, then you will lose in every situation. There is no winning, there is no justice, there is no right in this world that you are going to get justice for your own crimes and that you are classed as a criminal before you've even had a word come out of your mouth. Walking on the streets protesting against the virus of racism, in my eyes, I mean, I'm working at the minute, so sadly I haven't been able to go to a protest yet. I'm really hoping to go to one soon, but in my eyes, how I see it is that walking on the street and risking getting a deadly illness is still a better chance than most people have walking on the street with a police officer being present, in terms of how life-threatening it is. Out of the two, I would choose COVID, to be quite honest. Therefore, obviously, those who are protesting are doing the precautions to stay safe. A lot of them are wearing face masks, are isolating afterwards. But a disease should not mute the voices that need to be heard, and currently they aren't. I can't express enough how I feel that someone would say that we can wait, because realistically we've waited hundreds of years. Slavery's been gone for hundreds of years. We are supposed to be the equivalent of every other human. that we are fighting for civil rights. You know, that's the bare minimum you could ask for. And in the UK, we have an ignorance to believe that we aren't part of the issue. But from writing my own script and doing a short film on 70s London and a pair of siblings, well, in my script it's 3 siblings, but in the short film it's 2, who are black and they're fighting in 70s London. Even the fact that they had to choose between their race, and even when you look back in history, it's the feminist movement, you had to choose what was more important, to be black or to be a woman. And realistically, that's not a choice you should have to make, whether you fight for either instead of fighting for both. It was not something that joined, and I think that's saddening. And to think that wasn't that long ago, that's 50 years ago. Certain things I think we aren't aware of our own history, and I am still educating myself. I can't ignore the fact that I have lived in a world that has had privilege, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful to my parents for putting me in a situation that I don't have to deal with that. But I am educating myself in the history because in school we weren't told that. We weren't told about the inventors, the black inventors. We weren't told about the people that came over here in Windrush. We weren't told about that, and I only learnt that because it's part of my own family history from my granddad coming over when he was 17 and he had to leave his family behind. His mum stayed back in Jamaica and he came here for a better life, and he is grateful to see that his family is growing and that we are growing, that I've gone to university, something that he didn't get the chance to do. But having to learn that through people who will voice their opinions rather than being able to read a book or having it being studied in school is disappointing. That we in ourselves are ignorant to believe that we have our own history. UK was massive in slavery, in colonising countries. It's almost embarrassing that even America to some extent have shown that they understand they're doing wrong. They aren't changing that, but they will admit to it, whereas here it's like, no, we're a multicultural country, and we haven't got anything to show for the fact that we're teaching the newer generation or any knowledge of where we've come from. So back to the topic, why now? Because realistically we've waited too long and things should have changed, and the fact that I still have to look in the mirror to this day in 2020, in the 21st century, and look in the mirror and realise that I am different from others, and that there are some things that, some places I can't travel to, some things that I won't see, some places that I will get stared at. Even when I went to Budapest, I had people stare at me. I felt very alone. I did yoga and I didn't share as much when I did my vlog for Budapest, but it was very different. Going to somewhere like Portugal, where it's had a lot of tourists and is more welcoming, to then go to Budapest where it was more disturbing. I felt very uncomfortable there, being a woman of colour. To walk down the street, and no matter how friendly you may seem or how kind you may look, or there's no way of fighting the fact that people have the perception in their mind sometimes that black is bad or black is different or whatever it may be. And so the fight now, the fight never stops. Realistically, we've been fighting for hundreds of years for our right to be classed as human beings, and now is just the time that it's being publicised. Now is just the time that it is drawn attention to, because there's a pandemic on at the same time. If I mean, even in the UK, the media was more taken by the fact that Madeleine McCann, that there was new cases in that than the race protests that were going on. That it's embarrassing, to be quite honest. So don't ever question why is it happening now and that we will be the cause of a second wave. If you really think the fight isn't worth that risk, then you are clearly on the wrong side. And at least educate yourself, at least have an understanding, be willing to listen to people's voices. Please, whether you are white, black, Asian, anyone, please educate yourself, because it's not just your own story you have to listen to, it's other people's around the world as well. Educate yourself on what's happening around the world and racism around the world, as well as not only seeing the black man as being the struggle, it is also black women and black trans people, and everyone else. But please educate yourself. There is so much resources now, especially with social media. There are black owned businesses being shared, there are influencers being shared. Yeah, that's all I ask, that you take some time to educate yourself and hear the people that voices have been muted for this time. So if you want to see more from me, please subscribe. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I hope you got something from this very serious chat. But again, it's me just sharing my own thoughts and my own views, so feel free to comment if you have different ones or if you have share the same ones. But I hope to see you soon. Bye guys. We can wait.